Good morning and welcome to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment, the first live daily photo show on YouTube every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Pacific. If you're not watching live, you could be and you should be. You know the routine. It's so cool when you're live because you get to participate in the chat and I get to throw your chat up here and you can talk to me, you can ask questions. This is the only way to fly. I'm telling you, this is much more fun than... probably should record the show. This is much more fun than not being here live, but hey, I know not everybody can be. I thought at one point, what if I staggered out the show, did it like an hour later every day of the week or an hour and a half, but then I realized that that would take up my entire week and there's no way I could actually possibly do that. So for those of you who can't watch live because of the time zone, I'm sorry. But at least it's on replay. Okay, here's the plan for today. There is a new firmware update that was just released. I'm assuming it was just released last night. I just learned about it last night from Panasonic for the 12-60 Leica lens. Now, when you read the description, it sounds like it's doing a little bit more than it is, but I have clarified what it's doing, and it's not much. It's basically bug fixes. But let's go to take a look at the firmware update first, show you where to get it, and we'll take it from there. Let's not go full screen on that. Let's take it from there. So, to the computer. The URL you're going to go to is in the links down below, of course, but it is, just in case you're curious, av.jpm.support.panasonic.com/support/global/cs/ds/index2.html. You got that? You wrote that down, right? Because seriously, you better have written that down. That's the URL. It's in the link down below. Just scroll down, click on the link. It's right at the top. You got it. Don't worry about it. So you go there. And then you scroll down, and you see, look, it says new as of 8/7, 7/8/8/7, yep, 8/7. That was yesterday. 2017, August the 7th, new. For the HES 12-60, that is the lens in question. The version is 1.1, and we click to go to the download page. Now, when we open this little download page, it does tell us what this does. It does two things. Fixed the instability of autofocus and improved the performance of OIS, Optical Image Stabilizer or Stabilization. So at this point, you're thinking, cool, it got better. Oh, no, it didn't. It's just, all this is bug fixes. These are bug fixes that most people have probably never even encountered, just some fringe, fluky, weird situation that might have happened to some people. If you have seen odd autofocus issues or if you have seen odd OIS issues in your 12-60 lens, then you definitely want this update. If you haven't, then it may not really matter. But I always recommend updating your stuff to the latest and greatest because, hey, what could possibly go wrong? So we're going to update today. We're going to update and check it out. So knowing that there's no actual improvement to the OIS, originally what I thought I would do is try and do it before and after, but now I know that the phrasing is just weird. I got confirmation on this. It's just weird phrasing. It just really means there's improvement to the bug fixing. There's a bug fix. That's it. It's a bug fix. Okay, that's all there is to it. So, burn stacks not giving me grief. So I am going to just update my lens. And then what we're going to do to have some fun on the show is I'm going to take this out there into the other room. And that book that I set up for those who are watching the pre-show, I'm going to take pictures of the text at progressively lower and lower shutter speeds, handheld, to see how good the stabilization. I've never done a stabilization test with this lens. So we're going to do the update and then test it and just see how low can you go. Because why not, right? And obviously this is going to be different for every user. There's that whole how young, old are you, how much coffee have you had? So it's not like if I come to X shutter speed as my minimum that I can shoot handheld, it doesn't mean that's what it is for you. Yours might be higher if you are older or more caffeinated than me, or it might be lower if you are younger and or less caffeinated than me. So just things to consider, but we're going to do it because why not? Because I can. And that's my plan. So here's the workflow, what we're doing today. I'm going to first do the firmware update, and then I'm going to go out there and do some tests. And you know how when you're looking at the picture on the back of the camera, you can zoom into it? I can't do that while it's tethered to the HDMI. It doesn't play through the switcher correctly. So I can see the picture, we can pull it up, and it's set so that as soon as I take a picture, it comes up on screen. So you'll see it, but I can't zoom in. Just because of my whole switching system, it goes, and it shows black. So what I'll do is I'll run through that and I'll take a bunch of shots until I can plainly see that I'm no longer able to hold it steady. And then I'll come in, we'll bring the pictures into Lightroom and look at them a little bit more critically and come up with a definitive answer. So this might be a longer show. But, you know, that's what it's all about. So let's do this thing. So here's how this works. So we go to the Mac, we go to the computer, we go to Chrome. Oh, use Chrome, by the way. I haven't tried with this one, but in my past experience using Safari, I don't remember whether the pop-up doesn't pop up or the download doesn't download or something. We just use Chrome. Use Chrome. Okay, so we're in here. Again, just to recap, we're on this support page for which you have a URL in the show notes. We're looking at the HES 12-60. That's the Leica lens. You see it says new right there, nice and easy. Click to go to the download page, and if you're on a Windows PC, you're going to download that. If you're on a Mac, you're going to click download here. It's a teeny tiny file, 240K. That's it. That's it. She's done. So let's show that in the Finder, and let's open that. And we get this little .lin file, and that is all there is to that. And now I am going to take a memory card. Oh, actually, before I even do that, let's do this. Let me just show you the version number on here. So let's see if I get this right. Yes. Okay, so let's go in here. We go to the wrench menu, version display, and it shows you the body firmware and the lens firmware. So the lens firmware currently is 1.0, and we're going to be updating to 1.1. So you don't have to check this beforehand, but you might want to. Nobody has 1.1 because it was just released yesterday. If your GH5 body is not up to 1.1 yet, then go back to that same page, find the GH5 update, and get that update for sure. That was a good one. Okay. Right, so we got that. So now let's turn this off, and we're going to go back to the Mac here in a moment, and pull out a card. Pull out a card. This door is stiff. It's good. It's waterproof. And I'm going to just use one card. I don't think it matters, but I'm just going to use one card. Pop that guy in there. And as soon as that mounts, I will copy that .lin file to the root level. So there's the card, freshly formatted, I think. Did I freshly format? Yeah, it's freshly formatted. I'm going to take the .lin file, copy that on, eject said LIN file on said LUMIX card, and waiting. Out. Be gone. There it is. Gone. Take this, pop this in. Camera is off. Pop in the card. Let's go ahead and I'll bring this back up. What do I do? I'll do this. Turn the camera on. The power's on. Now you hit play. Ooh, I don't know if this will actually work on the output there. Oh, it does. Okay. Oh, it says TV output in progress. What is it going to show? Where am I? Where can I go? iOS. No valid picture to play. Well, I know that. There's a test file on there. You know, it might not work with the HDMI out. Okay, let me unplug that. I was afraid that might happen. So, but I think I've done that before. Let's just try again. Turn that off. Turn that back on. Hit play. Please wait. So now it's showing please wait. Oh, maybe this is what I did before. You know what I think it is? See, I knew there was a reason that I had this thing plugged in here. Let's do this and remote camera and tilt that. Okay, now it's upside down. Tilt. There we go. There we go. Can you see that? You can sort of see that. Can I zoom in on that? Let's zoom in on that. There we go. So this is version up. So this is what you should see. Sorry for the jiggly wiggly. Maybe it'll be easier if I just do this. There we go. Version up. Do you want to update? We say yes. You can touch it. Oh, it's focusing on the camera. Focus on the thing. There we go. I can use the joystick on the back, which is what I'm doing now. Hit version up, yes. Version up ongoing. I love it says version up, not version upgrade, but there you go. Version up ongoing. Do not operate any of the buttons on the camera, aka no touchy, no touchy. Do not touch the camera. So it's going to do its thing. All right, we don't really need to watch that happen. I'll just let that go. And while that's going, let's see what's going on in the chat room. Let's see what's going on over here. Bernstack was giving me grief about the URL. Michael's asking, any news on GH5 update? Michael and everybody else, FYI, if you want me to answer a question, do type at PhotoJoseph. See what happens here? It goes red. That way you know that I'm going to see it. Any news on the GH5 update? No news, no updates, nothing since what's been said publicly, which is later this year. What, summer, fall? I forget what it is. But it's coming. Burns ordered an N100 filter from Amazon for solar photography. Is that a neutral density 100? Yikes. I'll let you know if any good or not. Take what I say with a grain of salt. That's crazy. Cool. Cool. Is this thing done? Nope, almost done. Let's see here. Go back to remote camera. Still ongoing. Okay, we'll let that keep going. And nothing else. Burns Tech says you probably mean a 1000X filter. I don't know what you mean by either of those. What's an N100 or a 1000X filter? Please let me know. Serge says wget also. I don't even know what that means. Okay. Okay, it's done. See, it's just, when it's done, that's it. It's done. And then here, I'll just leave it on here. I'm going to go into this and go into, see if I can do this backwards. Go up to there, version display, and there you go, lens firmware, version 1.1. So that is all there is to it. Now, if we could just go back to the Mac real quick, just to show you, if you go to this download page where we downloaded it, there's instructions down here. Click here to the procedure for update. I don't know why no one's fixed the English on this, but it just is what it is. when you click here for the procedure for the update, it gives you a very lengthy how to download, how to unpack, where to put the file, how to check the file size, and then go to the procedure for lens update with G series cameras, and then it gets here, make sure you have a full battery, start the version. And it's, I mean, clearly what we just did is everything here. It's way more complicated on the web page than it actually is. So download file, unzip, obviously, put the resulting file onto the root level of your memory card, stick that into your camera, hit play when you don't have the HDMI connected. Hit play, it'll say, do you want to update? You say yes, have some patience, and that's it. It's all there, super easy, super straightforward. Marvin says, do you do the same for the firmware update on the camera? Exactly the same. You cannot, however, do multiple updates at once. So if you needed to update your body and your lens, you can't put both update files on there. But I think you can, and it's going to grab one, but then it won't ever grab the other. So just keep it straightforward. Just do one at a time. There was a period, that was probably 2 years ago, where Panasonic released updates for like half a dozen lenses or maybe more, and I had all of them, and so it was a long process of updating one at a time. But usually it's just one update at a time. But if you do find that you have multiple updates to do, you can't load them all on the memory card at once. Just do them one at a time. It's just how it works. Okay, so that's that. That works. That's set up. I'm going to go ahead and reformat the card now just to get rid of that file on there. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't ever say, oh, you have to update again. I think it'll just ignore it, but we're just going to wipe it out anyway, just to be sure. All right, so that is all there is to the update. So if that's all you cared about, take care. See you later. Bye-bye. But before we go out and do the part out there, I got to do something else. I got to do the part that I kind of forgot to mention at the beginning of the show, but that's okay. That's okay. We're going to make up for it. We're going to make up for it. Wait, I need my phone. No, I don't need that. I need this. Just patience. You guys know how this show goes by now. You guys know how this show goes by now. All right, here we go. And holla. Oh, I already put it up on screen. Sorry. Well, it's been sitting on screen for a long time. Here we go. The ad read. Today's PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment is brought to you by FidoNet.com. Whether you need a domain name, web hosting, or your own virtual server, FidoNet.com are the people to talk to. With access to more than 400 top-level domains, you are sure to find the right domain for your project. Or do you need to host a website? FidoNet.com are specialists in web hosting. With more than 20 years experience serving websites, the folks at FidoNet.com will be able to help you get your website online in record time and at an affordable price. FidoNet.com, where those in the know go, and those who use the code PhotoJoseph on checkout save 10%. Yes. Thank you, FidoNet.com, for supporting this wee little show. So, yeah, what was I saying? If that's all you want to know is how to do the firmware update, take off, you can go. You are excused, class. But now we're going to go experiment with taking pictures at as low of a shutter speed as possible and see what we get. So I think I've got everything set up the way I want it. Let me do this real quick here before I go out there. And I have one of these out there, so we will make this work. You're going to get to see it through there. I'm in manual mode. I'm going to go wide open. We're going to be zoomed in. I'm going to zoom into 60, so wide open is f4. And auto ISO. That's what I want to be. So then I'm going to control my shutter speed, and I'll start it at like 60th. We'll start at 60th because we know that's going to work, and then we'll go down from there. Sound like fun? This flashing number 2 for the second memory card's bugging me. I'm going to pop a second card in there. That is a little irritation, isn't it? That thing just flashing on there if you don't have one in there. Because the relay is telling you got to have a second card. Oh, goodness. All these comments that came flying by here. Let's just take a quick look at these before we run off. Trevor says, yeah, there's like 3 different scales. Oh, talking about the neutral density. ND10 is 1 stop. ND1 is 1 stop, right? ND.3, okay, that's confusing. But there's neutral density filters all over the place. Lip Glossary says, any insights on the upcoming 50-200 Leica lens? I know absolutely nothing about what you're talking about. Marvin PA says, thanks, that helps a lot. Excellent. Pablo says, hi from Argentina. Hello, Pablo in Argentina. Brent Kaplan says, I need your opinion. I'm looking to buy a second. Okay, should we do this now? Holton. Sure, why not? Let's do this now, because I'm going to run out there in a bit. Brent, okay, I need your opinion. I'm looking to buy a second Panasonic 35-100, okay? I could save a few bucks getting version 1. Do you think version 2 is worth the extra money, and I'm using it mostly for video? Okay, great question. There are 2 primary differences, well, 3 if you count that it's black instead of silver. 2 primary differences between the version 1 and the version 2 of both the 12-35-2.8 and the 35-100 2.8 lenses. Improved stabilization and better weather sealing. So first, let's start with the second one first. Weather sealing. Do you shoot in nasty weather, super cold, super dirty weather, like shooting in the desert, shooting in dust storms? Are you going to Burning Man? Don't take a GH5. Are you going to shoot in the Arctic? Are you going to shoot in the tropics? If you're shooting in any kind of super crazy, nasty conditions like that, buy the better lens. Just spend a little extra money, get the better weather sealing. The original ones, the Mark ones, have weather sealing, but the new one's better. So they're designated freeze-proof, for whatever that means. They're designated freeze-proof, so that's better. Second is the image stabilization. We've been told it's, I've never done a side-by-side, we've been told it's kind of a half stop to maybe a stop, probably more like a half stop. Better image stabilization when you've got dual OIS, so that's the GH5 body and the lens, combined between the old lens and the new lens. So it's a little bit better. It's not like massively better, but it's a little bit better. If you find yourself shooting stills in very low light conditions, often you want that really slow shutter speed, then it's worth getting. For video, I would probably say save the money, unless you need it for the weather. I would probably say save the money and buy Mark 1s, or even buy Mark 1s used, which you can probably get for half the price of a Mark 2. I'm making that up. I don't actually know, but I'm guessing you probably get it for half the price of a Mark 2. Because the stabilization is so good as it is. Video looks so smooth. I'm even talking about just using the optical stabilization, not even turning on video, which you can turn on to, or digital stabilization, which you can turn on to get even more. I like the look better when it's just optical. I think it's great. Unless you found that you just aren't getting stable enough with the existing lenses, I'd go with the same ones. So that'd be my recommendation. It's what you need. It's what you need. If you're doing stills, low light, buy the new lens. If you're shooting in nasty-ass conditions, buy the new lens. If you're shooting in nice conditions, if you found that the existing stabilization with the existing line of lenses is working perfectly fine for you, that extra little bit probably isn't going to do much for you, so don't bother. That's my advice. Okay. Marvin says, couldn't FidoNet give you a web space to hold sample photos? I'm sure that they could give me a web space to hold sample photos. I have plenty of web. Are you saying for me to put sample photos? Probably, but they could sell that to you as well. I'm sure they would be happy to. Burns, Texas, I wish Panasonic would notify you with your Panasonic account when there are firmware other updates for registered products. I know. That's why you watch my show. Serge says, also the smooth. Oh, Serge? Is that correct? Oh, I didn't know that. So Serge is saying, also the smooth aperture for version 2. So some of the lenses, notably the 12-60, the new 12-18, is that right? 8-18, 8, whatever. The new wide, super awesome Leica lens that everybody loves. I still don't have. Tom, where's my copy? Has a smooth aperture. When you're in shutter priority, the camera's choosing aperture, you're shooting video, it will change the iris smoothly. We've talked about that on the show before. I'm going to point up here and say we'll link to that video. I'll try to remember to do it. Ryan's not here to actually do this, so I'll probably forget. But if nothing's happening here, then just search in my channel for smooth iris. I think that'll find it. Serge, are you saying that's in the new Mark II lenses? If it is, then that right there is a huge reason to get the Mark IIs. I was not aware if it is. But if it is, that's fantastic. Somebody do some research and find that out, because that would be awesome. In which case, I would definitely say get the Mark IIs. Okay. Trevor, have you done a LUT show yet? I did some basic LUT stuff on this show, and I did some LUT stuff in my GH5 training. Please head to gh5training.com to get your copy of the GH5 training, which you know you want if you have a GH5. People in the chat room will tell you, people in the chat room are enjoying my training, as I'm very happy that you are. Love my GH5 training. I'm really happy with how it came out. I did a bit on LUTs in there. I've done one little bit on LUTs on this show. I might do more in the future, but no promises. I got a lot of other stuff I want to do first. Okay. Brent says most often, not often, mostly indoors. Not often, I don't know which one you're responding to, not often on, but remember, your thing shows up here way later than I say it. Yeah. Serge, if you can let me know or confirm, or somebody can confirm whether that smooth iris is in the 12-35 and 35-100 Mark IIs, that would be huge, huge, huge. Okay, last one, then we're running out of the room. Okay, Brent, no, I have not. And Brent is asking, have you ever asked Panasonic why the battery grip thread mount is not optically centered? Very frustrating. Can use it? Probably can't use it with matte box or teleprompter. I use mine with a teleprompter. I don't know what you mean. But I haven't asked. And Alexander says, have you ever deleted or lost important files? Yes, I have. Why? Yes, I have. And you know what to do. You know what you're supposed to do when you delete those files. You are, where's my files? Oh, I gotta find the right files here. You have to go to your backup. And you know how you make sure you have a good backup? If I can remember where I put these things. Where's my, oh, there it is, podcast. What you want to do is, here we go, title cards. You want to have, come here, you file. Now it's gonna, you want to have a backup. Yes, you do. You want to have a backup. You want to have a cloud-based backup. You want to have your computer not start suddenly giving you the spinning beach ball when you're trying to drag a sample file into the screen. Oop, there it goes. What you want is to watch this podcast. Backblaze is my online cloud backup of choice. I've been using them for years and years and years. I just did a podcast with these guys. Very interesting stuff, very interesting information. Lots more than just a little a bit about the backup service, but it's more about kind of behind the scenes, how they do things, what happens with your files. And we talked about their B2 service. It's kind of like Amazon Cloud, Amazon S3 services. Backblaze B2 services are like that, but cheaper and awesome. So watch the podcast. Head to photoapps.expert and click on the podcast button, and you'll see it there. It might still be near the top, but just click the podcast button, you see it, or search here on YouTube, or subscribe on iTunes. It's all over the place. Okay, John Warby, welcome. You missed your ad read. Okay, let's. Now we're gonna go out there. I gotta go out there. I gotta go do this thing. So let's go switch rooms. John, look at this. Check this out, John. Look what I can do. Dun, dun, dun. New room. We're going out to the other room now. We are going up to the other room. I'm going to grab a bottle of water along the way because I'm very, very thirsty all of a sudden. And here we go. All right. Now this is where I hope that everything's working right. That's interesting. Why don't, oh, I know why. Okay. All right, so today, now that we've done the update, the whole plan is to, oh, I need my, hold on, I need my switching device. Gots to have the iPads. Forgot to bring the iPad. Gotta have the iPad, gotta have not break things, break everything. Let's try not to break things. I don't need that. So now I can do this, and I can come out here, and I can switch over to Studio One just when I run in to the frame. Long run. Okay. I hope that's on. Yes, I can see it over there. Excellent. So we got the right one on. Okay, so now we've got a very long HDMI cable, which we're going to hook up to yonder GH5. And let's make sure this is syncing up. So now I don't have my preview monitor here, so I don't know that it's syncing. So I do this, I touch that, and I look over at the other window. Yes, it is syncing. Excellent. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I've got a book set up here with some text on it. Book open to page of text. I am once again in manual exposure. I'm going to leave the aperture wide open. I am going to adjust the shutter speed manually to go slower and slower and slower. The ISO is an auto, so I'm always going to get an accurate exposure, let the ISO do what it's got to do, allowing me to control the shutter speed. Sound good? Sound good. Okay, so the point here is to see how low I can go handheld. I am going to hold it the same way every time. This cable is not going to fall out. Nice and it's good. I can't use the bracket because this is way too big. I guess I'll do it like this. It's probably smarter. Whatever. So I'm going to, let's make sure this is all working before I start doing it. Yep, we're good. Okay, I'm gonna take this down to 60th of a second to start, and let's take a look at the HDMI out. Okay, so you will see the image come up on screen, and that is definitely sharp. I can tell that right now. So let's take this all the way down to a 30th of a second. And, oh, incidentally, are you seeing the, I don't know if you're seeing, let me turn on the display more. There we go, dual IS2 is on. Yeah, that's definitely sharp. Okay, let's take it down to a 15th of a second. Yeah, it's still looking sharp. I'm gonna do one more shot there. I think that's pretty good. I think we're gonna go down to 1/10 of a second. That's looking a little soft. There's another one. Ooh, that one's good. That's a 1/10. Okay, let's go down to a 1/4 of a second. This is insane. Okay, no, that's not soft. That's not sharp. Okay, I am not physically capable of hand holding in a 1/4 of a second. I'm going to put my elbow on the table now. So now I'm going to cheat this a little bit. I'm going to put my elbow on the table. Oh, that's sharp. Here, let me go back to that. That looks sharp. Wow. So that's still, you know, technically handheld. It's just, okay, now let's go down. Let's go down to like half a second. Elbow on the table still. Why is it over? Oh, it's overexposing because I can't go any lower on the ISO. Well, then I guess I'll have to stop this down, which gives me more depth of field, but that's not what I wanted, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. It's a two-dimensional book. So I guess we're going to have to stop it down even more. Even more. Jeez. There we go. That's half a freaking second. Stabilized with my elbow, but that is half a second, technically handheld. Okay, let's go down to, let's go crazy. Let's go crazy. Full 1 second. Elbow is on the table. Okay, that didn't work. All right. We have limits, man. We have limits. Okay, that was pretty good. So now let's take these pictures back into the computer, back into Lightroom, and see how they look close up and critical. Was that fun? That was fun. I thought that was kind of cool. See you back in there. And we're wandering off to the other room. Wandering off. You'd never want me to sing, trust me on this one. All right, and we walk back into this room, and here we are. And all kinds of other questions. Okay, we'll come back to those questions. We're not going to do a second part of the show because that's just way too hard for me to start and stop on my own without Ryan here. So that's why these few days we're not having any commentary section of the show, but that's okay. All right, let me do this. I'm going to bring the right screen up again. I am going to do this very quickly. Just remind you that today's show is brought to you by FidoNet. Today's PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment is brought to you by FidoNet.com. Whether you need a domain name, web hosting, or your own virtual server, FidoNet.com are the people to talk to. And to save 10%, be sure to use the code PhotoJoseph on checkout. Thank you, FidoNet, for supporting the show. We love you. All right, so I need, not that. That's my email. We don't want my email up. What's that doing up? Hide that, hide that, hide that, hide that. Okay, and let me just launch Lightroom first before we switch over to the screen. Make sure that that is up and running. What did you guys think of that? Was that like, oh no. What did it do? Welcome to Lightroom CC 2015.12. I don't even know which update that is. Is that one I've already done? I hope so. I hope that's not like a major update that I didn't know what happened. Okay, import. All right, back to the computer. So hit the import, there's all those pictures. Okay, they're all just RAWs. I didn't have to RAW plus JPEG, and rename, we don't care, just blah, 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 I don't care, whatever, just import. This is a temporary setup anyway, so here they come. Here they come, here they come, here they come. We'll let those finish importing, and then we will take a close-up and personal look at them. Let's see what's going on in the comments in the meantime. Xcube720 says, for someone starting vlogging with the G85, what lens would you recommend? Any primes? Okay, if you're gonna vlog, if you're gonna do like me on the vlog, you know, turn the camera into selfie vlogging, I've used the 12-60 quite a bit. If you're doing the selfie thing, the 12 might not be quite wide enough. A popular lens is the 7-14. However, there is now the new Leica 8-18. I think that's right. I always forget what that one is because I don't have it yet, Tom. That 8-18 should be a phenomenal lens for vlogging. In fact, I know that the folks up at Geeks Life have a GH5 with the 8-18 and are loving it. So I think that would be a great lens for vlogging. That's one I would recommend if you wanted to do vlogging, selfie vlogging style. Primes are just more limiting, obviously. If you're doing video and you're doing your run and gun type of vlogging type stuff, having a prime is a bit more limited. I'm partial to primes, but when it comes to video and any run and gun, zoom is generally a better option to go for. So I would look at that 8-18. That one should be really good for that. Burns Tech says, let's switch over to this. Burns Tech says, I recently used my GH5 in a vlog, and holy crap, that dual OIS makes the GH4 look like cell phone video. Yeah, it's pretty impressive, isn't it? Serge, thank you, has just re-verified the 12-38 f2.8 Mark II has the smooth aperture. Okay, well in that case, that is 3 significant differences between the Mark I and the Mark II of the 12-35 and 35-100 f2.8s. 4 if you count the color of the box. number 1, weather sealing. Number 2, better OIS. And number 3, the smooth iris. If you are doing video work with these lenses and you like the idea of being able to shoot in shutter priority and letting the camera change the aperture to change the exposure, it will do it smoothly. It won't give you that step down exposure. It's a smooth control. It is gorgeous. So forget everything I said earlier. Buy those lenses. Next up, thank you very much, Sarge. I appreciate you looking that up. That is very, very helpful. Burns Tech likes my singing music. Just trust me, you don't. No, you don't. That was not you. Just simply is Panasonic updating the macro lens? Nothing that I've heard of. Kevin says, would you recommend the 14 to 45 for anything? It's not a very fast lens, right? So I don't own one. I mean, 28 to 90 equivalent, that's a nice range. I'd rather have the 12 to 60. But maybe the 1445 is really inexpensive. I honestly don't know. I'm not familiar with it. I don't have it, so sorry. Okay, back to the computer. So let's see here. Let's go to library. Where is our metadata? Let's see here. Here's the metadata. We are looking at this file. There we go, 60th of a second. Okay, obviously that's going to be sharp. We'll just, here we go. Okay, 60th of a second, zoom into 100%. Let that draw. Boom. Okay, clearly sharp. Can I, oh good, I can do the info. Oh yeah, let's do that. There we go. I can do the info, get that up. So okay, the info is up here at the top. 60th of a second, obviously sharp. 30th of a second, let it load, still sharp. 15th of a second, that one was not sharp, but then I took a breath and I got a better one, and rendering, there you go. That is ever so slightly less sharp, but I mean, that is acceptable. So that's at a 15th of a second. That was my second attempt. I did a little bit of a job of breathing out slowly. Now, just incidentally, here's a thing, I don't have the camera here anymore. Here's a thing about shooting slow shutter speeds, just my own personal little tip to you on this. If you hold your breath, your body tends to quiver a little bit when you hold your breath. If you breathe out slowly, take a deep breath and breathe out slowly, I'm exaggerating there, but breathe out slowly, you tend, I personally at least find, that I tend to have a smoother, more relaxed grip, and I can do a better long exposure handheld shot when I'm slowly breathing out than when I'm holding my breath. I learned that like 100 years ago, so it's just, you know, a little tip to pass along. Okay, so that was 15th of a second. Now we go to a 10th of a second. That clearly did not work. I think this is when I said, all right, let's put my elbow on the table. Yep, so there we are, 10th of a second, elbow on the table. Totally good. Quarter of a second, that one didn't work. I moved, but then I tried it again, still didn't work. Okay, still didn't work. I guess we never really got a good quarter, did we? Oh no, there's a good quarter. So it took a little while. Oh, also I had the weird ISO issue, and I finally realized what was going on there, and so it was getting overexposed. But that's a quarter of a second. That is clearly elbow on the table. That is a quarter of a second. There's a half a second. That one's no good. There's a half a second. Look at that. Look at that. Half of a second exposure, elbow on the table, but that is sharp. Okay, there's a 1 second, and we never got a 1 second. 1 second was too much. So half a second exposure with an elbow on the table. Half a second. Quarter of a second handheld, truly handheld, but it took a couple of shots. Your mileage may vary. I'd love to know what you guys can do. If you find that you can do better, by all means brag. I think that is phenomenal. I mean, really, that's kind of crazy cool. All right, that's what I wanted to do. All right, let's see what's going on in the comments, and then I'm gonna bail out of here. Pablo's asking, what program do I use to manage live on YouTube on an iPad? It is a very, very large, complex setup. As Burns Tech has said, I have done an entire show on this. I will link to that. It may not show up where I'm pointing, but just click on the eye up there. It'll show up in there. So that's two I got to add. I got to add that playlist. And what was the other one? Oh yeah, the vlogging? I don't remember. Whatever. Maybe it'll show up. But I'll add that one because it's good. Or just look through my playlist. You'll see it. It's called PhotoJoseph's YouTube live setup or something like that. It's huge. Trust me, it's massive. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And Burns Tech, just clarifying that, I do that. Search my channel for YouTube live setup. Well, thank you, Burns. You know, you can could you move in and while Ryan's out? And that'd be great. All right. I think that's it. Now I got to set up this computer to do my switch over, and that's all set and ready to go. Yes, I think this is actually going to work. Wow. All right, you guys. Hey. That was fun. I hope you had fun. I had fun. We learned how to update the camera, the firmware on a camera and a lens. Same, but different. Same, not different. And we saw how slow of a shutter speed we could go. And you got to see my new studio setup. Pretty awesome, right? I will show you, it's really convoluted, but I will show you how I got the exposure balance out there. I came in this morning, I thought of just putting the camera on live while I did it, but then I thought, man, that's bad television, because it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours of just minute little controls. But I'll take you through it. I'll have to figure out how to do that. I have to do it from the other machine, so we'll figure it out. But I'll show you how I did that, because I think it's interesting for those who are using Blackmagic cameras and want to know these things. Otherwise, that's it. Birdstack says I couldn't afford you. Ain't that the truth? All right, let's call it a day. See you guys later. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day. Tomorrow, tomorrow is supposed to be the show with my friend who's going to talk about Aurora Borealis photography and eclipse photography. But I emailed him yesterday confirming he hasn't written back yet. We need to do tests. If I don't hear from him today and we can't do tests today, then we can't do the show tomorrow. But hopefully that's all going to happen. So just fingers crossed that that's going to happen tomorrow. And then the next show, which is currently planned for Thursday, but will get moved to tomorrow if for some reason Aurora Borealis / eclipse doesn't happen tomorrow, is going to be about that Webcaster X2. So we got things planned. It's going to be a good week. See you guys later. Bye-bye.